The old folk tales spoke of whispering pines, a place consumed by shadows. They said the trees whispered names, a siren song of doom. Those names belonged to souls soon claimed by the forests, lost forever. Many dismissed it as a campfire tale, a story to scare children. But deep down, everyone knew. Whispering Pines was real. Its darkness was a living thing. It waited. Professor Elmwood scoffed at superstition. Armed with his compass and a thirst for the unknown, he ventured into Whispering Pines. Locals pleaded with him, their faces etched with fear. The whispers, "Professor, they steal your soul!" Elmwood laughed, attributing their warnings to folklore. He would be the one to unravel the forest's secrets. He would be the one to conquer it. He stepped across the threshold, the sunlight swallowed by the dense canopy above. The air grew cold, a chilling premonition. He pressed on, his arrogance blinding him to the danger. The forest was a labyrinth of twisted branches and gnarled roots. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy, casting long, eerie shadows. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. Elmwood consulted his compass, but the needle spun wildly. Lost. He was hopelessly lost. Unease pricked at him. He was not alone. A whisper, barely audible, reached his ears. His name? He dismissed it as a trick of the wind. He pressed on, deeper into the heart of the cursed woods. Days turned into nights. The forest held Elmwood captive in its grasp. Whispers followed him, slithering through the undergrowth. They grew louder, more insistent. His name echoed through the trees. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced him. He was not the hunter here. He was the hunted. He ran, branches tearing at his clothes, but the forest held him fast. He stumbled, falling onto the forest floor. Above him, the trees twisted and groaned. Their whispers surrounded him, closing in. Section 5. Whispers in the wilderness. The whispers now were a chorus, swirling around him like a vortex of despair. Each whisper carried a fragment of sorrow, a piece of a forgotten story, echoing through the dense fog. The air was thick with the weight of untold tales, each one more haunting than the last. They spoke of forgotten souls trapped within the trees, their voices entwined with the rustling leaves. The leaves seemed to shiver with each whisper, as if the trees themselves were mourning. The forest was alive, not with the sounds of nature, but with the lamentations of the lost. The forest feasted on their fear, their regret. It thrived on the emotions of those who wandered too deep, feeding on their despair. The deeper Elmwood ventured, the more palpable the fear became, as if the forest itself was a living entity, hungry for his soul. Elmwood covered his ears, but the whispers penetrated his very being. They were not just sounds, they were thoughts, memories, and emotions seeping into his mind. He could feel them crawling under his skin, invading his consciousness. They wormed into his mind, whispering his deepest fears, his darkest secrets. He was unraveling. Every whisper was a thread pulling at the fabric of his sanity, threatening to tear him apart. His mind was a battlefield and he was losing the fight. He saw figures in the shadows, their eyes burning with a cold, malevolent light. They watched him, their gaze piercing through the darkness, judging him. Each pair of eyes was a reminder of the souls trapped within the forest, their torment eternal. Were they real or figments of his unraveling mind? The line between reality and illusion blurred, leaving him questioning his own sanity. The figures moved with the fog, shifting and changing, always just out of reach, always watching. He screamed into the void, but only silence met his cries. The forest absorbed his screams, muting them, turning them into whispers that joined the chorus. Elmwood was alone, surrounded by the voices of the damned, his own voice lost among them. Section 6. A glimmer of hope. Through the haze of fear, Elmwood saw a flicker of light. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but in the overwhelming darkness it stood out like a beacon. His heart quickened, a mix of hope and trepidation surging through him. Could this be a sign? A way out of the endless night that had enveloped him for so long? A single ray of sunlight pierced the dense canopy, illuminating a small clearing. The light was warm, golden and inviting, a stark contrast to the cold, oppressive shadows that surrounded him. It was as if the forest itself was offering him a moment of respite, a chance to breathe and gather his strength. In the centre stood an ancient oak, its branches reaching towards the heavens. The tree was majestic, its leaves shimmering in the sunlight. It seemed to pulse with life, a silent guardian in the heart of the forest. Elmwood felt a strange connection to it, as if the tree held secrets that could change his fate. Hope, fragile and fleeting, sparked within him. It was a delicate flame, easily extinguished by the encroaching darkness, but it was there. He clung to it, drawing strength from the possibility that he might find a way out. The forest had tested him, pushed him to his limits, but he was still standing. Could this be his salvation? The thought echoed in his mind, a question that carried both hope and fear. The tree seemed to call to him, its presence a promise of safety and refuge. But was it real, or just another illusion crafted by the forest to ensnare him further? Could this tree hold the key to escaping the forest's grasp? Elmwood's mind raced with possibilities. He had heard tales of ancient trees with magical properties, trees that could guide lost souls to safety. Was this one of them, or was it simply a beautiful anomaly in an otherwise hostile environment? He stumbled towards it, each step a monumental effort. The ground seemed to shift beneath his feet, roots and rocks conspiring to trip him. But he pressed on, driven by a desperate need to reach the light. His body ached, his muscles screamed in protest, but he refused to give in. The whispers intensified, urging him to turn back, to succumb to the darkness. They were insidious, seeping into his mind, filling him with doubt and fear. But Elmwood knew he couldn't listen. He had come too far, endured too much to let the forest claim him now. He fought against their pull, his gaze fixed on the light. The whispers grew louder, more desperate, but he blocked them out, focusing on the ancient oak. It was his anchor, his guiding star in the sea of darkness. With every step he drew closer, the light growing brighter, the hope within him burning stronger. Section 7. Ensnared by the woods. The forest was a labyrinth of shadows and whispers, a place where light dared not linger. Each step he took seemed to echo with the memories of those who had wandered here before, never to return. As he reached out to touch the oak's rough bark, a cold wind swept through the clearing. It was as if the forest itself was breathing, exhaling a chill that cut through to his very soul. The bark felt ancient, imbued with the weight of countless years and untold secrets. The whispers screeched in his ears, a cacophony of despair. They were voices of the lost, the forgotten and the damned, each one telling a tale of woe and warning. He tried to shut them out, but they only grew louder, more insistent, as if they were clawing at the edges of his sanity. The sunlight vanished, plunging him back into darkness. It was a darkness that seemed alive, wrapping around him like a shroud. He could feel it pressing in on him, suffocating, as if the forest itself was trying to consume him. The oak's branches twisted, transforming into gnarled, skeletal hands. They moved with a life of their own, reaching out with a malevolent intent. Each branch seemed to whisper a promise of doom, a reminder that escape was impossible. They reached for him, their touch sending a jolt of icy fear through his veins. It was a fear that paralyzed him, rooting him to the spot. He could feel the cold seeping into his bones, a chill that spoke of death and despair. He was too weak, too lost to resist. His strength had been sapped by the forest, his will eroded by the relentless whispers and the oppressive darkness. He fell to his knees, the weight of his despair too much to bear. The whispers were inside his head now, his thoughts no longer his own. They twisted his memories, his desires, turning them into something dark and unrecognizable. He could feel his identity slipping away, replaced by the malevolent will of the forest. The forest had claimed him, its victory complete. The roots wrapped around him, pulling him down into the earth. He could feel the life being drained from him, his essence becoming one with the forest. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the darkness. In that final moment, he felt a strange sense of peace. The struggle was over, and he was now a part of the forest, forever ensnared by its ancient, unyielding grip. Section 8. The forest's new voice. The whispers faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Professor Elmwood was gone, his essence absorbed by the ancient oak. His screams, his pleas became one with the forest's symphony of sorrow. And from the oak, a new whisper arose, Elmwood's whisper. It joined the chorus of lost souls, forever bound to the cursed woods. The forest had claimed another victim. The cycle continued. Whispering pines remained, a testament to the darkness that lurked within its depths. A chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed. Section 9. Are you listening? Have you ever walked alone in the woods, the silence pressing in around you? Listen closely. Do you hear them? The whispers, faint and insidious, carried on the wind. Perhaps it's just your imagination, or perhaps something darker lurks in the shadows, waiting to claim its next victim. Listen carefully. What do the whispers say?